So welcome everyone. So excited for this insightful conversation with you, Mona. Oh my gosh, the wisdom that we're about to throw down together.
I would say meeting you sparked the evolution of like this next chapter for me. It was crazy.
Wow, amazing. Do you want to speak more to that?
Yeah. So for people, listening in, I met you randomly. I was walking up the street on Washington in Venice, and I just walked into this Pilates studio. You were there, and I was pregnant, and we didn't even talk about Pilates. You're like, so I do this thing at my house. You should totally come by. And this was Women's Circle at your home before it turned into a business. And being Canadian and not from LA, I just was so deep in search for connection to other women going through the same thing, especially not having my mother and my sister here. And there you were. And I'll never forget the first time at my house, being able to sit in circle with other women who are just seeking such deep connection, no frills, no expectation, no false barriers or masks. We just show up authentically as ourselves. And that there, and especially, gosh, becoming a mother, right? Like this is an entirely new role of myself as a woman. And I don't think, had I not have had the support hearing other women's stories, I wouldn't have transitioned into motherhood the way that I did. So thank you. No big deal, right?
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, it's so powerful to bear witness to ourselves and other people, especially when going through something big, transitioning into motherhood. I know for myself how big of a transformation that was for me. Is so important, I think, to gather and to witness and be a witness to other people's journey as well. And I'm just honored that we were able to be there together during that time.
Me too. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I want to talk, gosh, I'm really excited about specifically what's been coming up for me and preparing to be with you all right now today in this moment is the body. And I want to deepen our understanding of what that means or what the definition is of the body. And I really want to just go right into honoring the body as our temple. And that is a physical manifestation that houses the soul. That's how deep I want to go in this conversation, because I feel like with our society and my own personal journey through my body and how people would perceive me and not a soul, just the exterior body, to shift the thinking to my body is a temple and it is housing my soul. And that shifting in the thinking allows me to approach myself and my body in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny. I feel like, now that I'm in my 40s, there's been a drastic shift in the way that I view my body. And I thought that I'd gone through this transition when I became pregnant. Before having my son, Elijah, I had a miscarriage. I miscarried twins at about 12 weeks. And the doctors asked me not to have D&C. And so I didn't know what to expect. But about a month later, I ended up going into labor at home. It was traumatic. I don't have to share the details, but at the time I felt it was my fault. It was my body. It was my fault. It was my languaging. I didn't do something right. And as a result, I killed something inside me, right? Like, this is terrible languaging. And I'm sharing this with you because you understand the context. When I became pregnant with my son, my language had to be unconditional, divine, spirited, deep love with every single cell of my body, because I did not want the communication to be the same. And growing up, for those of you who don't know my background, I grew up living on an ashram in the summer. So ashrams are spiritual centers where they focus on yoga and meditation and time in community, time in nature, time eating high vibrational whole foods from the earth. The stage is literally set for healing to take place, for your body to experience stillness, homeostasis, but also vitality from the energy of nature, Mother Nature around us, right? And so when it came time for my healing, I ended up having 2 heart surgeries. I went back to my roots at the ashram and shifted. Like I was taking in all of these modalities. And when I became a nutritionist, I started realizing that, people would hire me for the diet. They'd hired me for the 6-pack, how to do a headstand, how to fit the dress, but they would stay with me long-term if I could help them shift their state into a state of feeling peace, calm, and maybe for once in their life, feeling self-love, getting so in tune with their heart that it became their personal GPS guidance system. So that just imagine every day, if you could wake up, every decision you make, every conversation you have, activity you choose is in alignment with self-love. So for example, am I going to eat this because it connects me with the version of myself that I want to feel and create and love? Or am I not going to do this or eat this because it connects me and grounds me in a version of myself where I feel stuck, where I don't feel good, right? And so I like that the dialogue is really shifting around this mind-body connection. We now know that the power of our thoughts is something that our body listens to. We store emotions within our body. I don't think doctors are quite talking about it yet, but at least people, are bringing this to the forefront. When we look at people who are healing from major diseases, we understand that if they can shift their mindset, then they ultimately can shift the state of their cellular self inside.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And, when we spoke before, really acknowledging the thoughts and how we think of ourselves and how we think of our body. I want to read something that I feel like goes with what you were sharing. This is from Marianne Williamson. These are her words. The body is a holy lesson and a communion and should be seen and treated as a sacred trust. Thoughts of aggression, unforgiveness, conflict, and fear tear down the body because they tear down the soul. Healed thoughts produce healing in body as well as mind.
Ooh, that nailed it. Right?
Well, yes, now we can go.
And that's a wrap.
And it's a wrap. Great to see y'all. But
to that point, the challenge today is that we're up against so many obstacles. So here's this body, right, that hasn't had an upgrade to live in today's world, with today's stressors, with today's pollution, with everything that's happening in the world that's getting busier and faster and more intense. We still have the same body. And the foundation at the ashram, and my father's words growing up, was optimize the vessel. When you optimize the vessel, you optimize your life. When you optimize the vessel, you have longevity. When you optimize the vessel, we all know that when we feel good in our physical bodies, it manifests in our spiritual bodies. And then we can take that out into the world. As women today, trying to keep up, and Paula, you and I have talked about this before, wearing so many hats. It's not enough to just be a mom. It's not enough to just be a woman who doesn't have children. It's not enough to be an entrepreneur. It's not enough to be somebody who does all of those things, and a wife and a sister and a daughter. The list goes on of our expectations. And media is projecting that we need to do it all, right? Feel the pain, do it anyways. Feel the fear and do it anyways. And this is really manifesting in our struggles and our health. And the fascinating thing is that the people that I work with, whether they are professional athletes, massive celebrities who have the personal chef, the trainer, the psychotherapist, the massage therapist, the meditation coach, the list goes on, even them, they still don't wake up feeling great every single day. So what does that mean? It means that ultimately everything comes back to us and our own mindfulness. And this idea of mindfulness was woo-woo for so long, right? But now they're calling it neuroscience. What is neuroscience? Understanding the power of our thoughts and our body and the ripple wave that can create. So when we go to the ashram, I can tell you, like, the food is really, really good. You can take the exact same person dealing with the same struggles and disease, but one has at least aligned the right modalities in their life to heal, to keep the peace, to align with stillness and relaxation and maybe even a sense of joy every day. And the other one who is just getting lost. They're getting stuck on that hamster wheel of keeping busy. And the one with the same obligations who's focusing on mindfulness can be more productive, can go out in the world and still feel fulfilled, can still leave servant leader projects in helping the world. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. So when we think about this idea of mindfulness, ultimately what that means is moving yourself to the number one position in your list of to-do things, which is women, we don't do that. Our kids get sick, we get bumped. Our husband's busy, we get bumped. Work takes over, we get bumped. Somebody else is doing better, well, we'll take care of ourselves later. But from my work, what I see is that if we can wake up every day, prioritize our mindfulness, doing whatever it takes so that you do nothing that will ever compromise this act of self-love for yourself, that carries tenfold out into your day, into your life, and into your relationships.
Mm-hmm. Beautifully said, beautifully said. And I just want to go back to the messaging that society can project onto us. I think it's an opportunity for us to not listen to the projection, but that's on us. That's a choice that someone makes. And not to live in a rock and not, have some awareness of what is going on, but being mindful of how we choose to receive the projections that may throw us off of what's really going on inside of us and what we truly believe. And if the belief, I know I have shifted many beliefs that did not serve me in my life, that definitely did not serve my body. But by shifting those thoughts, by shifting those beliefs, those negative patterns have really helped me to shift into more of a loving way of being with myself and being with my body.
Isn't it wild that we weren't taught to love ourselves? Mm-mm. Like, I can honestly say that I did not love myself until I had to when I got pregnant. And then now, even more so as the demands of life are getting busier and busier, but because I've had to make it a priority. Mm-hmm. And I keep having these glimpses, and like, you and I should totally jam on this. Just before we hopped on here, just that connection of sisterhood, mm-hmm. womanhood, and of gathering. There's something that we feel as women when we come together, that it's this inherent wisdom that's within us. And I think that over the decades and the past century even, women stop gathering. We stop creating platforms and circles to really support our intuition, our superpowers. Right now, personally, for my business, when I think about these healing rituals, we call them ancient healing rituals, but where do they come from? They came from our mothers and our aunties and our sisters, right? I'm sure we all have a grandmother or someone, a woman in our family who she could make a recipe and she would know just by intuition, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. And I don't know, I'm on Google, I'm like 1 teaspoon of this, of that. Like, that tradition, that wisdom is dying. And what about the woman who would have been in our villages, who knew, go and, take those leaves from the earth, make this tea from nature, combine those fruits and these vegetables to help you heal at this time, right? And it's frustrating. And the way that translates in my world specifically is men. Men are coming and speaking at us like experts, and God bless a lot of these doctors. Some of them are my colleagues from, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Amen, Dr. Axe, Dr. Will Cole. They're all absolutely brilliant, but they will never know what it is like to be a woman, to have a menstrual cycle, to go through PMS, to go through loss the way that we do, to go through changes in our body throughout our lives the way that we do. And yet they're the ones dictating what we do with our bodies and how to heal. But imagine, and like maybe this is just something that I get turned on with, but like, my God, if I knew that I had a circle of women where there was a sisterhood, where we were keeping this lineage alive, or at least creating the space to have the dialogue and how to keep it living moving forward, does that not feel empowering? Yeah, I really just, I wish it was more normalized for women to understand our inherent superpower of simply being born a woman.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's my calling in life, is to circle up. And why I have been offering the circle facilitator training, because the more this can become a ripple effect, the more that we can gather and come together, the more powerful and amazing this world, but that is the healing. That is the healing. And as you were sharing, I can't help but to think about my daughter. She's just having such a different experience than my mom did, than my grandmother did, and even my great grandmother.
Yeah.
So it's very normal to her. Mama's got a circle. And I'm gonna, when she has her moon, when she gets her moon, I've already asked her, we're gonna do a circle. And already talking to some of her mom friends, talking to the moms of her friends that are on board, that want to be there and be there with their daughters. So, wow, that's amazing to really hold space for this initiation for my daughter, and to have mothers and daughters there. Because how can we shift this? How can we change this? Well, let's just circle up and do it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
how we can change it.
Yeah. And when we look at this from the healing perspective and bringing it back to the body, what if the inspiration behind every single decision that you make every day was around nourishment?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about living healthy, losing weight, being paleo, keto, or God knows what else is out there. Every decision that you make every day is around, is this nourishing my femininity, my soul, and my cellular body? Or is this depleting me? Like using that as your guiding light question again. When it comes back to a state of nourishment, I think that that turns on your own body's intuition. I think that many of us, all of us here, when we're not feeling our best, intuitively, we kind of know, like, I feel like I just need some space. I feel like I need time in nature. I feel like I need a cup of tea with a friend. I feel like I need a mom. I feel like I need a hug, but just like really tuning in to what your body needs. If I could end this diet revolution, it's to help women, to help everyone understand that your perfect diet should be as unique as your thumbprint. There's not one other person in this world that is built like you, who has the same requirements of you, who even has the same ecosystem of trillions of bacteria and fungi and cells within you. An ecosystem is living within you. And that's dictating your health, your cycle, your happiness, your hormones, your energy levels, your sleep, your sex drive, all in here. So if we just could stop and tune in and listen to that, my God, the noise would just get like so much less loud from, it would almost be, wouldn't it be funny? Like just like funny at the men telling us what to do with our bodies, funny at the diets that are out there, just like preaching that it's perfect for you, right? Mm-hmm. Comical almost, especially knowing that a lot of those diets are only tested on men, but they don't tell us that part, do they? You can get me going on this.
Love it. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I guess to bring it back, like it can feel really overwhelming, right? When you want to see and feel such big change in our society and in the world, But I think that conversations like this absolutely matter. I think us then taking it out into the world and having these conversations with our friends, even though they might seem uncomfortable at first, really, really matters. But ultimately, it starts with ourselves, right? Women like talking about the things that make us feel good. So if you start incorporating rituals within your life that honor your femininity, like your divine feminine within you and what you need, and you share that with other women, they'll be more inspired to take that on. It's the reminder. It's like the visual cue, the reference that we need to hear over and over again.
I'm called to read something else. This is from the late John O'Donohue from his book Ananam Cara. And he speaks so beautifully and deeply. I'm not going to read all of it, just a couple paragraphs about the body. The body is also very truthful. You know from your own life that your body rarely lies. Your mind can deceive you and put all kinds of barriers between you and your nature, but your body does not lie. Your body tells you, if you attend to it, how your life is and whether you are living from your soul or from the labyrinths of your negativity. The body also has a wonderful intelligence. All of our movements, indeed, everything we do, demands the most refined and detailed cooperation of each of our senses. The human body is the most complex, refined, and harmonious totality. Your body knows you very intimately. It is aware of your whole spirit and soul life. Far sooner than your mind, your body knows how privileged it is to be here. It is always aware of the presence of death. There is a wisdom in your physical bodily presence that is luminous and profound. Frequently, the illnesses that come to us result from our self-neglect and our failure to listen to the voice of the body. The inner voices of the body want to speak to us, to inform us of the truths beneath the fixed surface of our external lives.
So powerful.
So powerful and so beautiful to connect to that wisdom that our body has to share with us, to really see our body as a sacred space that is us, to acknowledge it as this luminous, beautiful being. And I have spent half of my life not in that mindset, not thinking of myself in that way, thinking of my body in that way. But I've spent the rest, this other half of my life feeling that way, but that required me having the willingness to shift my thoughts about myself. It didn't just like come from nowhere. It really came from the willingness that I had to really have that self-reflection, to shift how I felt about me and my body, and not listening to society and society's projections onto me. But see, that's on me. That's on me, not to change what the messaging is going on out here, whether it be social media, Facebook, news, men, doctors, whatever. It's on me to turn it around and honor me and my inner wisdom that relies inside my heart. And also, I just want to mention as well, so I went through a brain event. I had a brain aneurysm almost 3 years ago. And because of it was such a physical bodily experience. And with the shift, or my shift, it's easier for me to go into the spiritual world, to connect to the emotional world, and it's easier for me. And so to really go the other way, to really have a bodily experience and to experience something in the brain is new for me, but has led me into learning about the brain and learning about neuroplasticity and new pathways and shifts that not only am I seeing in my physical body as I recover from this traumatic brain experience. For example, fully left-handed now. I was dominantly right-handed. Now I'm fully left-handed. It's wild. It is so wild. And that is the shift of the brain. And so without having a brain traumatic experience, we can shift. By shifting our thoughts, we do create a new pathway. We do create a new experience for ourselves. And so it's not woo-woo, at all. It is scientific based. It is factual that as we shift our thinking, we make new pathways in the brain, which is so wild to me.
Let's expand on that. And the reason being, once they figured out that there was an industry for prescribing medication, the idea of sitting in tribes, listening to music, using instruments and music to heal the body became less appealing, right? This big drug industry just really took over. And trust me, there is a time and a place for these medications. I get that. But how I describe what you were speaking of is like really listening to the whispers. Your body's communicating with you every second of every day, including while you sleep, through your dreams. Your body is communicating to you. Avoid ignoring the whispers before they turn into screams, before it turns into imbalance, before it turns into dis-ease, before it turns into disease, right? And this word inflammation is such a buzzword, but I would say a lot of us have just become accustomed to living with inflammation. Sore joints, normal. Low sex drive, yeah, it's fine. Irritability, yeah. Poor sleep, yeah. PMS symptoms, yeah. Irritable bowel, yeah. Irregular bowel movements, yeah. Irregular cycles, yeah. It's so common, right? Is what doctors will say, what our friends will say. And this is a common expression now, but just because something is common doesn't mean that it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to tune in, get to the root cause of those imbalances, right? When I had my heart surgeries, doctors never asked me what my heart was going through. They did ask about stress. They asked me what I was eating every day, just inquiring if I drank a lot of alcohol and stuff like that. This was in my 20s, mid-20s. And not one doctor or surgeon from 2 separate heart surgeries knew that my parents were going through a divorce after 35 years of marriage. They asked me for permission to get divorced. That hurt my heart. I was going through a breakup with my best friend. At that time, I also became my mom's caregiver. Really heavy. We ended up moving. My father left and got an arranged marriage to another Indian woman. All these matters of the heart. And looking back at that now, it's just so clear the amount of stress and like dis-ease that my heart center, my energetic heart was feeling. It was aching, it was hurting. But I didn't want to tune into that. You want to give me a drug that's going to take this away? Great, let's do it. We're going to do a surgery and it's going to take it away fast? Great, let's go do that first, right? And I gave into it instead of sitting with it and listening to how my body was communicating. And sure enough, what happened? I went back to the ashram, and what happens at an ashram is there's a shift in your vibration. Another word that's not woo-woo anymore. I don't put people on diets. I help them shift into a vibration that allows their body to heal. How do we do that? We tap into memories and feelings of joy. So joy, peace, fulfillment, happiness are high vibrational frequencies. Anxiety, worry, tension, fear, stress, sadness, shame, very low vibrational frequencies. So when I asked this one question to my clients, I became an NLP practitioner, so neuro-linguistic programming, because I had to understand, like, how do we shift our emotional belief system? And we do this by simply attuning to memory, right? And you guys can try this right now too. Like, think of a time in your life when you felt happy, when you felt at peace, when you felt a sense of joy, maybe even a second where you were so happy, your hands were in the air, like, woo, like that kind of happiness, right? And when I went through this exercise, I couldn't think of anything. I had to like really go back, and I was like, maybe something as a kid, maybe. That was really sad. But when I could start to essentially create a memory myself, I had to imagine going back in time to myself as a child, playing in a park, the things that I would have loved doing, the dress that I would have loved wearing, the temperature that I love, the sun on my skin, the smell of the air, the feeling of the trees, like getting as much detail as possible on a moment that could bring me and make me feel happiness and joy. If you really own in on this every single day before you get out of bed, your body will not know the difference between that memory happening in the past or you experiencing it right now in the present moment.
Mhm.
And guess where the body heals? The body heals in that vibration. So if you can attune your lifestyle, your daily schedules, your daily rituals to attune yourself to happiness, freedom, joy, and peace, there you go. You're continually shifting your DNA. You're recreating new circuitry in your brain. You are rewiring different centers of the brain, of the heart, all energy centers, and your gut microbiome. They're all firing and connecting, right? I say we have three brains, the one in the head that we think with, the one in the heart that we feel with, and the one in our gut microbiome that connects us to our intuition. They are all connected to the power of your emotion and what you're able to feel. So take some time today and think about, what are the things that bring you joy? Morning coffee, walk outside, kiss with your loved one, having a ritual with your family in the morning before you start the day, a certain food that you want to have every day. What's an act of self-love for you to eat a certain way? What are those foods? Maybe time for you to go away, daydream a little, connect to your creativity. This is your work though, a nutritionist, an expert, a doctor, psychotherapist, whoever. None of us can do this work for you. It's you understanding how you came into this earth. And I believe that we all have the inherent memory of when we came into this earth as a kid. If you, as this grown adult woman, could visualize going to a park and just imagine watching yourself play as a little girl. What was she doing? What was she saying? What was she wearing? How did she like to be seen? What were the things that she wanted to do? Did she like to get dirty? Did she like to go as high as she could on the swing? Did she like to jump from really tall spaces? What is the version of yourself that you've forgotten today that's preventing you from feeling your best? If you can reconnect to the version of yourself as a child in that happy moment, you'll reawaken. And what I call this is just remembering who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Keep that your mantra every day. And then you'll align with the habits that help you feel good and that help you heal.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, gorgeous. Love it. Why don't we open it up for question and answer? How is this landing for you? What do you want to share? What's present for you? You can unmute whoever would like to begin.
I would love to know if you have any sort of, I know obviously like the root of everything is quite personal, and that's like your work to kind of go in and tap into. But I recently found out I have insulin resistant PCOS, which I've had like, I freaked out, went on all the bazillions of supplements, changed all the diets. And then that wasn't, I mean, I was happy to have the support. And I feel really lucky that I have a great acupuncturist and resources to hear a lot of information. But in terms of just sort of like narrowing down the internal dialogue around PCOS, or I would love any wisdom you have on PCOS specifically.
Can you believe last week, my doctor, she refused to write me the requisition for an ultrasound because she said the POS is just normal.
Yeah.
I
Well,
wanted,
I had gone to one doctor because I read Women Code by Elisa Vivi, that book. And so I was like, I feel like that got me off birth control. That got me onto my regular cycle, and I asked my first gynecologist if I had it. And she was like, nah. And my mom goes, who cares if you do? I probably had it. And then, then there's the approach of doing all the supplements and doing all the things. And I'm just wondering, like, what's in the middle. Obviously, I want to support my body with supplements, but taking like 8 to 10 pills a day it doesn't feel that aligned for me. I can work towards that, but I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's like, I know you can also get rid of symptoms. I started doing Joe Dispenza. But yeah.
Yeah, so this is a really big puzzle to take apart. But this can apply to all of us also hormonally, okay? So insulin resistance is linked to every spectrum of our health these days. I have a feeling in the next year, it will be the number one topic that doctors will be addressing with patients because it's linked to everything from depression, PCOS, miscarriage, high cholesterol, obesity, like you name it, okay? So we need to understand what's happening within your body. Obviously, keeping your body metabolically healthy is everything. The company that I partnered with, look up Dr. Casey Means. She's incredible, Casey, last name Means, Means. She's a co-founder of Levels, which is a continuous blood glucose monitor. I was going to put mine on today, actually.
I applied to get one of those.
Oh, great. Amazing. So again, because we're all biologically different, you might eat a banana and it will spike your blood sugar through the roof. I can eat a banana and I'm completely neutral. You could eat a bowl of rice and it'll spike your insulin through the roof. I could eat a bowl of rice because of my genetic constitution. I'll be totally neutral. So if you're in that area of wanting to get ahead of it, understand biologically which foods keep you metabolically stable versus the ones that don't agree with you, that cause you to spike and drop. Wear it for about 2 to 3 months, make a list of all these foods. They send you a report so that you can go back and see what your good days are versus the challenging days. That's step number one. You'll really be able to own in how food can be your medicine. Number two, we have to understand other parts of your biology. What are you absorbing? What are you not absorbing? What are your inflammatory markers like? So as much as I love this ancient idea and rituals of science and healing, we have to take that with today's modernized approach of medicine. So I send all of my clients for functional lab testing so that I can understand every single system within their body so that when you go through this process of healing, we're at least putting out the fire in some other places. So for example, you have PCOS, but you're really fatigued and tired, and we see that your liver is really congested. Let's give you some liver support and do that first before we get you on the 8 or 10 supplements. Let's support your liver, focus on the foods. And then of course, the third thing would be stress. So going back to that mindfulness practice every single day is shown to metabolically improve the way you metabolize foods. If all of us could simply go for a walk after we eat for 15 or 20 minutes, those people are metabolically healthier and can recover even from the highest sugar increases than those who don't. So going for a walk after dinner. I guess lastly, avoid getting trapped in the labels of this. You have PCOS, which is your body indicating that you need to make a shift. You're developing insulin resistance, which is like, hey, your body's sending you the cues, like something's not working. We have to shift our diet here. We know now that we can turn on or off the genetic markers that cause us to get sick. So all this is a way of your body communicating to you that something is off. So I would start by understanding your biology through a full spectrum blood lab, check in on your liver, get rid of stress, right? If there's anything, trauma from your past, anything that's deep that it's time for you to let go of, we've got to release that from the body. Then use the continuous blood glucose monitor, use science to help you what metabolically are the right foods for you. And within 3 months, you should see a massive difference and feel a massive difference.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of that.
No problem.
And just to add to that, how you hold it is how you experience it. So wherever you are, this is for all of us, wherever we are in our process, it's about being gentle and loving with ourselves no matter what. When I was, after everything happened, my brain event, getting an MRI, you know, how I hold it is how I experience it. So I just held it in a loving way. I used that time for prayer and meditation. When I was pregnant with my son, I had cholestasis. You know, again, like, how can I be with myself as I take these pills that I didn't want to take? And here I am, a doula. I've witnessed many births and many other people have cholestasis, but I didn't think that that would happen to me, but it did. I had to be on medication for it. But again, it's on me. How do I want to be with me as I'm going through life? As I'm going through life. And I've been able, through every experience in my life, every trauma, which I believe is an opportunity for me to shift my thinking, I've been able to have, because of, you know, how I hold it is how I experience it, being curious, being self-reflective about this moment, sometimes this trauma that I'm experiencing, I'm able to connect to insights. But that's only because I have that understanding of going within myself. I take in the information that I need from the outside, but I don't rely on that only to be the message. I take that and I blend it and integrate it with my own inner knowing. And that's how I'm able to get quiet within myself and make a decision that aligns best for me. So I hope that that's helpful, but that was coming forward also when I was listening to you, because that's life. You know, I don't think that my thoughts cause me to have a brain aneurysm. I believe that that's just a part of my life experience, but it's on me. How I hold it is how I experience it. It's on me, because many people have had brain trauma and they, you know, just consciously, they're just in a different place. Again, not right or wrong, but they're just in a different place about how they have experienced a brain trauma, for example. So it's really on to us, which should feel empowering. I know how empowering it feels for me to really just not give my everything over to someone else, to really give it to myself. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that knowing. And that is an act of self-love. I love myself so much that I don't give myself over to someone else and to their opinions, XYZ. But that takes work. It takes work, it takes courage, and it takes willingness.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you. Sandra?
Hi, Mona, I just want to say, I just love this discussion so much. It's just,
Thank you.
it's so enlightening. But I wanted to ask you, do you ever feel it's too late to start on this kind of I'm sort of in the later years of life right now. And in fact, I'm officially becoming an empty nester. And that makes me so sad. All 3 kids are out for sure now. I'm far away. And I'm also taking care of my husband who's ailing in health too. So my priority has always been the kids and then him of the last 10 years. And then I just took note how you said, make yourself the priority. Is it too late to start shifting? Or do you ever feel like, I know you're going to say, no, it's never too late, but at the same time, is it really too late ever to shift your whole being? Because I just feel like by choice, I know, because it's just, I've kind of got lost in the mix up of all this. Like, it's my choice to sort of make everyone else a priority. I get that. But I just feel very kind of physically not with myself. I'm sweating a lot lately. I don't know if that's post whatever hormonal stuff going on, but I don't like it. And there's just so much yuck going on right now with me physically, but I'm trying to stay positive. Thank you to Paula, because I just love her to pieces, as she does now. And I did take that program with her, with the facilitator program, and I started my own circle up. So some ways I've shifted, but I don't think I've physically shifted myself. I've taken care of myself. So, and it's interesting to see, just one other point, with through my husband's issues, how much this medical system, this North American medical system, just shoves pills, you know, it's all the pharmaceuticals. That's a whole other story though. But so I'm so happy you're delivering this message today. So I think it's amazing and beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you. Gosh, thank you for sharing. It's funny, I can hear so much of myself within you. It's like you're getting the glimpse of the wisdom that's inside you that's saying, yes, of course you can change. You can change your body. You can do this. You can transition. It can be easy. And it's being confronted and met with messaging today. But is it really possible? You really think that you're going to shift? You really think you're going to make some changes? Yeah, no, you're going to the part of your life that's going to feel hard. Yeah, get used to it. And we have to really just like listen to the thoughts. And if you can, you know, if you were to have this dialogue, even by yourself every day, listen to what you're saying and how it's making you feel, and really who that voice is. Is it really your voice, or is it the training, the conditioning, the imprinting that's been on you? Okay. What an exciting time. Your body is feeling the heat of it all through sweating and wanting to like warm up. Okay, we got to gear up. There's a lot of transition happening. She's supporting her husband. She needs a lot of energy right now to really help him heal and be this role model. And still, there's also the piece inside of you that's like, hey, you're going into a new chapter of your life. Oh my God, how exciting is this? This could be so exciting, right? We have to turn up the volume on that a little bit, right? So again, let's break this down, okay? So you've got this puzzle in front of you of your body, your mind, your spirit, and your life. Let's take it apart and really put it back together. How do we do that? First and foremost, let's understand your biology. Get your labs done. See where your hormones are at. See, it doesn't mean you have to take any prescription. Just see, like, is there inflammation? Are you digesting food properly? Is your blood glucose in control? Because if it's not, like Alexandra, you might experience some highs and some lows, and it makes you feel crazy, but it's just the biology responding. Your body's trying to heal. So understand your biology first, and to see if there's anything that you could take care of then and there. The second thing is to really like take care. So it's sad that we call taking care going through a diet or a protocol. But if you can focus in what we do at the ashram, all we do is we take out the bad. Take out the things in your kitchen that are, you know, aren't fueling health, vitality, energy, peace, and joy. Your kitchen, our cabinets, is our healthcare system. Okay. Back in the day, it would have been our aunties and our grandmothers and the spice cabinets and the teas and the herbs and the tinctures and everything. Now it's our kitchen. So when you're purchasing your food, your nourishment, just ask yourself, is this fueling the version of myself that I want to feel? Or is this taking me back and depleting me and causing more inflammation that's going to keep me stuck? If you don't know how to do that, just focus on an abundance of foods that come from the earth. Typically, those are foods that don't have any ingredient label. No ingredient labels are great. And if they do, just remember, if you see an ingredient on a food product, if you don't know what it is, if you don't understand it, if you can't read it, neither will your body. And that is going to be a drug that's going to communicate more inflammation to your body. All right. And then what other things in terms of giving yourself some ease? Fasting. Okay. Another buzzword is fasting. Our ancestors would have been fasting. When we were hunters and gatherers, we would have been fasting. It's something that's inherent to our biology. You know, fast for at least 12 hours a night. 12 is like, is good. You don't have to go for a challenge of doing 16, 18, 20, and God knows what else, but just give your system a break for 12 hours. Let things clear out of you. Hydrate with a lot of water. Throw in a little bit of lemon that has some vitamin C that's a little bit acidic, that's going to, boost the hydrochloric acid within your stomach to help you digest. Tune into the quality of your digestion. If you have any digestive symptoms, burping, belching, heartburn, or on the other end, constipation, irregular bowel movements, loose stool, whatever it is, those are all symptoms from your digestive system. And in Ayurveda, we understand your digestion is life. If you're not digesting your food properly, chances are you're not digesting everything else. But we also digest what we watch, what we listen to, what we eat, what we smell, and what we feel. So look around at your life, look at your calendar, look at your fridge, look at the shows that you're watching, and ask yourself, all right, just say to yourself with a sense of humor, all right, Sandra, what are you digesting? Okay, there's a really stressful TV show that we're binge watching. There's some inflammatory food in those cookies and those crackers. There's that, conversation with my best friend, and all she does is want to gossip, right? There's the clothes that I'm wearing. They don't make me feel good about myself. So ask yourself what you're digesting. What I help people do is create your ashram at home. So your ashram in the city, wherever you are. So look around you right now. Are the things that make you feel calm and relaxed or happy or sexy or beautiful? Go into your kitchen. Does it make you feel like you're a healthy person? Go and look at the things that you're watching. Look at the pictures that you have. Like really create your own ashram at home so that it's fueling your ecosystem, your nervous system, your energetic centers, your vibration. And then all of a sudden things start to shift. Imagine walking into your home and you get that feeling the same way as you walk into a spa, and it's like, you just exhale. The stage is set for you to feel good, for you to heal, for you to feel optimized. All right. Menopause shouldn't be about suffering, by the way. Our ancestors didn't suffer when they went through menopause, but this shows us, all right, there's inflammation in the body that needs to be taken care of. So doing a detox can be something as gentle as just taking out the bad and focusing on the real whole foods. I suggest to everybody, just take some care of your liver. I just found out I have mold. I've had mold exposure. So for 7 months, 8 months, my hair was falling out like crazy. I haven't had any sleep at all. And it's been a mess. And part of me, like your point, like at Alexandra's point, it's like, really, am I going through this again? Am I really at another point of my healing journey? Am I really sick again? I can take that attitude, or like Paula said, that I can show you a million people right now who have more suffering than you do in your life, who are sicker, who've had more loss, who've had more damage, who've had more pain, who have no access to the right foods. Like, God, we have such a place of privilege to live today. If we can just own into that a little bit more and just understand, like, all right, universe, well, it looks like you want me to be on a healing journey. Maybe that's part of my messaging and my purpose. I'm going out into the world. I'm sharing with other people how to be on a healing journey, but to just embrace it. It's a privilege to be alive today. And yeah, there's 5G and we're not getting the cleanest water and we're not getting the cleanest food and the stress is insane and there's war and God knows what going on in this world, but we're alive today. So am I going to live this life as a gift, treating this vessel as a fucking gift from God and universe for me to like be here and be present and so in love? Or am I going to get to the end of my life and just like, wish I did better, wish I made different choices, woe is me, suffering is hard, life is hard. Like, ew, that just doesn't feel good, right? And it sucks that we might need the daily reminders, but this is where we can really own in on the protocol that we need. For me, I need to meditate every day. I need to make sure that I'm communing with women every single week. I need to make sure that I have a breakfast, a smoothie that's going to fuel my day. I need to know that my grounding practices at night before I go to bed so that I can get deep restorative sleep, right? Like I'm building my healing protocol, and I'm saying to all of you that you can too by simply tuning in. All right. So these next few months for you are going to be challenging, but there's also going to be a lot of joy. So just watch your mindset every day and decide, like, just role play. All right, this is going to happen. You can see how your life is going to be preoccupied. How do you want to feel? How do I want to feel every day? And then make decisions that align with that. I hope that helps.
Thank you. It's beautiful. Yeah, so much help there. I'm just jotting it all down. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And two things I'll add. One is we have a choice, and there is no good or bad choice. It's just a choice and how we would rather feel. And also, I'm just thinking about, I have a very busy week this week. And so how to bring these practices in when we are, running a week that's like a lot. And for me, what are the things that I can do in this busy week to support myself and my nervous system? Because I can feel my nervous system. I'm like ramping up. And because I've had this brain event, I can't move as fast as I used to anyway. So I'm like even forced to slow down. But I can see how my mind wants to try to just go faster than what my body can actually allow me to move. And so in this very busy, joyful week, what can I do? Pause. Even if it's for 1 minute, connect to my breath, come back, acknowledge my nervous system. Okay, I'm ramping, have the self-talk to myself, but do it in a way for me that is doable. Because again, back to the choice, or I can just go as fast as I can until this is all over with Sunday nights, and then feel burnout or, have to sleep for 2 days or whatever the case, right? Or I can nourish myself and slow down and take pauses in this very busy, joyful week. That's my choice. And I choose to make choices that are nourishing and support my well-being.
I like that idea of choice too, like it's empowering versus letting things just sort of happen to you. And I think I've been in a very situation where it's like, oh, poor me. But this has shifted me already. This hour has shifted me already that to take charge again. That's all we have sometimes, right? So thank you for that too, Paula. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. We have time for one more question, and then we'll bring it to completion. If anyone has a question or something they want to share.
I have one more question if no one else does, but I don't want to take a turn from someone else.
Go for it.
I'm curious your perspective on plant medicine, and also like ayahuasca for sure, or any plant medicine as a whole, but also using marijuana ever in a meditation practice in a sacred way, like with ceremony, with not just like smoking weed and sitting on the couch, but using it to sort of open up more to the divine. Because I have had that experience, but I also am conscious of like spiritual bypass and balance and all of that.
Wow. All right, let's go here. Yeah, plant medicine is something I've really gone deep into over the past 2 years. And I will say that it has completely changed my entire relationship with myself and with my husband. So I have to first of all, you have to be called to it. Second of all, you have to understand whether it's something that will honor your constitution. So if I have to wear my expert hat speaking to you, Alexandra, then if for you it didn't drive a behavior around food afterwards or feeling in your body that doesn't feel good, then it's not worth it, or it might not be the right medicine. There's going to be a lot more science that's going to continue to evolve around this. I can't believe that ketamine clinics are already, I'm Canadian, they're already up and running in Canada, and they're opening up here in LA also. MDMA therapy, psilocybin and mushroom therapy, journeys that are around MDMA and psilocybin. they're beautiful. But I think one, you have to be called to it. Know the practitioner also, if there is a practitioner behind it, that there's somebody who has had experience and training and not just doing it for a fun Friday or Saturday night. Oh, and Ash is on here too. Ash knows about this also. And go in with intention. Why are you doing it? Is it for deeper healing? I guess to give my perspective, the visual, the imagery that comes to me every single time I do plant medicine, and I shared this with Paula, is I see my hands in the earth. I see myself surrounded by other women. I see myself surrounded by healers. I see us gathering other women and shifting the energy of the planet and saving the future of our food and for our children, like literally saving the earth. So this is like powerful stuff, right? That comes to me in that state. The fact that it comes to me over and over reaffirms my purpose and like my inner voice and how I want to live my life. If it comes to plant medicine with your partner, like if this is your life partner and that is part of the energy at home in your ashram, and there's an opportunity to elevate that vibration that you haven't been able to move past before, then yeah, I'm a really big fan. So just understand the calling, understand the expert, understand your biology, and just know that your temple is safe to go through something like that because it can be intense. And lastly, understand your intention. Always lead with intention. It's like a joke that I have. That's what I do. My thing is I set an intention before I eat, before I get in the car, before I hop on a Zoom call, before I do plant medicine, before I hang out with my kids, before I have a weekend with my children. I lead with intention, and that seems to drive the experience and healing for me.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just add exactly just intention. And also, what is the belief around this type of medicine and also if it doesn't align with someone's journey, then it isn't the only way. There are other ways. So if you never choose to never do plant medicine, it doesn't mean you're missing out or that you can't reach higher levels of consciousness, because it isn't the only way.
Oh, so let's just put it this way also, just that closing thought. The feelings that I've experienced in plant medicine, I've also felt at the ashram after an hour of meditating or chanting, okay? So you can get yourself into these altered states, which is how I believe our ancestors did also by gathering. So a lot of people go to church for this reason also, but you can get yourself into an altered state. Practice breath work. If you don't dive into plant medicine, do breath work for an hour, and I promise you, you're going to feel like a different person.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a beautiful place to, do you feel complete, Alexandra? Sorry.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. That's a beautiful place to close. Thank you, Mona, so much for this.
I pulled this out for some reason this morning. I'll just show this as reference for you guys in closing. So it's a book. This is one of my Bibles. It's the Body Healer Protocol. It's written by a woman, but it covers everything from food to mindfulness to herbs and essential oils and making decisions. And it's a great Bible to keep in the house as reference. So thank you, Paula. Thank you for having me. This is a beautiful conversation. I'm excited to take this out into the world and I'm so happy to have you back. And this new optimized version of a brain that you have.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just blessed that I get to share it. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.